Hi! I see you're about to become smarter. This video will help you to improve your English language skills. So let's begin.
Absolute. Absolute. Absolute means total. Total. For example, absolute secrecy. Absolute secrecy. Abstract. Abstract. Abstract means not physical or concrete. Not physical or concrete. For example, abstract concepts such as love or beauty. Abstract concepts such as love or beauty. Academic. Academic. Academic means relating to education. Relating to education. For example, academic achievement. Academic achievement. Acceptable. Acceptable. Acceptable means able to be agreed on. Able to be agreed on. For example, has tried to find a solution acceptable to everyone. Has tried to find a solution acceptable to everyone. Accurate. Accurate. Accurate means correct in all details. Correct in all details. For example, accurate information about the illness is essential. Accurate information about the illness is essential. Actual. Actual. Actual means existing in fact. Existing in fact. For example, the estimate was much less than the actual cost. The estimate was much less than the actual cost. Additional. Additional. Additional means added, extra, or supplementary to what is already present or available. Added, extra, or supplementary to what is already present or available. For example, we require additional information. We require additional information. Adequate. Adequate. Adequate means satisfactory or acceptable in quality or quantity. Satisfactory or acceptable in quality or quantity. For example, this office is perfectly adequate for my needs. This office is perfectly adequate for my needs. Advance. Advance. Advance means done beforehand. Done beforehand. For example, advance notice. Advance notice. Advanced. Advanced. Advanced means modern and recently developed. Modern and recently developed. For example, the team developed advanced techniques for measuring and controlling the noise of the submarines. The team developed advanced techniques for measuring and controlling the noise of the submarines. Affordable. Affordable. Affordable means inexpensive. Inexpensive. For example, affordable housing. Affordable housing. Aged. Aged. Aged means Of specified age. Of specified age. For example, young people aged 14 to 18. Young people aged 14 to 18. Aggressive. Aggressive. Aggressive means ready or likely to attack or confront. Ready or likely to attack or confront. For example, he's very uncooperative and aggressive. He's very uncooperative and aggressive. Alcoholic. Alcoholic. Alcoholic means containing or relating to alcohol. Containing or relating to alcohol. For example, beer is their favorite alcoholic drink. Beer is their favorite alcoholic drink. Amusing. Amusing. Amusing means causing laughter and providing entertainment. Causing laughter and providing entertainment. For example, such a likable, amusing man. Such a likable, amusing man. Annoyed. Annoyed. Annoyed means slightly angry. Slightly angry. For example, Kelly was annoyed with him. Kelly was annoyed with him. Annoying. Annoying. Annoying means causing irritation or annoyance. Causing irritation or annoyance. For example, annoying habits. Annoying habits. Annual. Annual. Annual means occurring once a year. Occurring once a year. For example, the sponsored walk became an annual event. The sponsored walk became an annual event. Anxious. Anxious. Anxious means feeling or showing worry, nervousness, or unease about something with uncertain outcome. Feeling or showing worry, nervousness, or unease about something with uncertain outcome. For example, she was extremely anxious about her exams. She was extremely anxious about her exams. Apparent. Apparent. Apparent means clearly visible or understood. Clearly visible or understood. For example, it became apparent that he was talented. It became apparent that he was talented. Appropriate. Appropriate. Appropriate means suitable or proper in circumstances. Suitable or proper in circumstances. For example, a measure appropriate to a wartime economy. A measure appropriate to a wartime economy. Armed. Armed. Armed means equipped with or carrying firearm or firearms. Equipped with or carrying firearm or firearms. For example, heavily armed troops. Heavily armed troops. Artificial. Artificial. Artificial means not natural. Not natural. For example, her skin glowed in the artificial light. Her skin glowed in the artificial light. Artistic. Artistic. Artistic means having or revealing natural creative skill. Having or revealing natural creative skill. For example, my lack of artistic ability. My lack of artistic ability. Ashamed. Ashamed. Ashamed means embarrassed or guilty because of one's actions or associations. Embarrassed or guilty because of one's actions or associations. For example, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed of yourself. Associated. Associated. Associated means connected with something else. Connected with something else. For example, two associated events. Two associated events. Astonishing. Astonishing. Astonishing means extremely surprising or impressive. Extremely surprising or impressive. For example, an astonishing achievement. An astonishing achievement. Automatic. Automatic. Automatic means working without human control. Working without human control. For example, an automatic kettle that switches itself off when it boils. An automatic kettle that switches itself off when it boils. Aware. Aware. Aware means having knowledge or perception of situation or fact. Having knowledge or perception of situation or fact. For example, most people are aware of the dangers of sunbathing. Most people are aware of the dangers of sunbathing. Awkward. Awkward. Awkward means hard to do or deal with. Hard to do or deal with. For example, some awkward questions. Some awkward questions. Basic. Basic. Basic means fundamental. Fundamental. For example, certain basic rules must be obeyed. Certain basic rules must be obeyed. Beneficial. Beneficial. Beneficial means favorable or advantageous. Favorable or advantageous. For example, the beneficial effect on the economy. The beneficial effect on the economy. Bent. Bent. Bent means sharply curved. Sharply curved. For example, a piece of bent wire. A piece of bent wire. Biological. Biological. Biological means relating to biology. Relating to biology. For example, both are important research organisms in biological laboratories. Both are important research organisms in biological laboratories. Bitter. Bitter. Bitter means not sweet. Not sweet. For example, the raw berries have an intensely bitter flavor. The raw berries have an intensely bitter flavor. Blind. Blind. Blind means unable to see. Unable to see. For example, a blind man. A blind man. Bold. Bold. Bold means confident and courageous. Confident and courageous. For example, a bold attempt to solve the crisis. A bold attempt to solve the crisis. Brave. Brave. Brave means showing courage. Showing courage. For example, a brave soldier. A brave soldier. Calm. Calm. Calm means without emotion. Without emotion. For example, she had to keep calm at all costs. She had to keep calm at all costs. Capable. Capable. Capable means having ability, fitness, or quality necessary to do or achieve specified thing. Having ability, fitness, or quality necessary to do or achieve specified thing. For example, I'm quite capable of taking care of myself. I'm quite capable of taking care of myself. Careless. Careless. Careless means lacking caution. Lacking caution. For example, she had been careless and had left the window unlocked. She had been careless and had left the window unlocked. Casual. Casual. Casual means relaxed. Relaxed. For example, she regarded his affairs with a casual indulgence. She regarded his affairs with a casual indulgence. Central. Central. Central means in the middle. In the middle. For example, the station has a central courtyard. The station has a central courtyard. Challenging. Challenging. Challenging means testing one's abilities. Testing one's abilities. For example, challenging and rewarding employment. Challenging and rewarding employment. Charming. Charming. Charming means very pleasant or attractive. Very pleasant or attractive. For example, a charming country cottage. A charming country cottage. Cheerful. Cheerful. Cheerful means noticeably happy and optimistic. Noticeably happy and optimistic. For example, how can she be so cheerful at 6 o'clock in the morning? How can she be so cheerful at 6 o'clock in the morning? Chemical. Chemical. Chemical means relating to chemistry. Relating to chemistry. For example, the chemical composition of the atmosphere. The chemical composition of the atmosphere. Chief. Chief. Chief means most important. Most important. For example, the chief reason for the spending cuts. The chief reason for the spending cuts. Classic. Classic. Classic means judged to be outstanding. Judged to be outstanding. For example, a classic novel. A classic novel. Comic. Comic. Comic means meant to cause laughter. Meant to cause laughter. For example, comic and fantastic exaggeration. Comic and fantastic exaggeration. Commercial. Commercial. Commercial means concerned with commerce. Concerned with commerce. For example, a commercial agreement. A commercial agreement. Comparative. Comparative. Comparative means relative. Relative. For example, he returned to the comparative comfort of his own home. He returned to the comparative comfort of his own home. Complex. Complex. Complex means consisting of many different connected parts. Consisting of many different connected parts. For example, a complex network of water channels. A complex network of water channels. Complicated. Complicated. Complicated means consisting of many interconnecting parts or elements. Consisting of many interconnecting parts or elements. For example, a complicated stereo system. A complicated stereo system. Comprehensive. Comprehensive. Comprehensive means including all elements or aspects. Including all elements or aspects. For example, a comprehensive list of sources. A comprehensive list of sources. Compulsory. Compulsory. Compulsory means required by law or rule. Required by law or rule. For example, compulsory military service. Compulsory military service. Concerned. Concerned. Concerned means worried, troubled, or anxious. Worried, troubled, or anxious. For example, the villagers are concerned about burglaries. The villagers are concerned about burglaries. Concrete. Concrete. Concrete means physical or real. Physical or real. For example, concrete objects like stones. Concrete objects like stones. Confused. Confused. Confused means bewildered. Bewildered. For example, she was utterly confused about what had just happened. She was utterly confused about what had just happened. Confusing. Confusing. Confusing means bewildering or perplexing. Bewildering or perplexing. For example, he found being in Egypt very confusing. He found being in Egypt very confusing. Conscious. Conscious. Conscious means aware of one's surroundings. Aware of one's surroundings. For example, the person may remain completely or partially aware, and will remain conscious. The person may remain completely or partially aware, and will remain conscious. Conservative. Conservative. Conservative means averse to change. Averse to change. For example, they were very conservative in their outlook. They were very conservative in their outlook. Contemporary. Contemporary. Contemporary means living or occurring at same time. Living or occurring at same time. For example, the event was recorded by a contemporary historian. The event was recorded by a contemporary historian. Controversial. Controversial. Controversial means giving rise or likely to give rise to controversy or public disagreement. Giving rise or likely to give rise to controversy or public disagreement. For example, years of wrangling over a controversial bypass. Years of wrangling over a controversial bypass. Conventional. Conventional. Conventional means in accordance with what is generally done. In accordance with what is generally done. For example, a conventional morality had dictated behavior. A conventional morality had dictated behavior. Convinced. Convinced. Convinced means completely certain about something. Completely certain about something. For example, she was not entirely convinced of the soundness of his motives. She was not entirely convinced of the soundness of his motives. Convincing. Convincing. Convincing means capable of causing someone to believe that something is true or real. Capable of causing someone to believe that something is true or real. For example, there is no convincing evidence that advertising influences total alcohol consumption. There is no convincing evidence that advertising influences total alcohol consumption. Corporate. Corporate. Corporate means relating to large company. Relating to large company. For example, airlines are very keen on their corporate identity. Airlines are very keen on their corporate identity. Criminal. Criminal. Criminal means relating to crime. Relating to crime. For example, they are charged with conspiracy to commit criminal damage. They are charged with conspiracy to commit criminal damage. Crucial. Crucial. Crucial means Decisive. Decisive. For example, negotiations were at a crucial stage. Negotiations were at a crucial stage. Cruel. Cruel. Cruel means willfully causing pain or suffering to others, or feeling no concern about it. Willfully causing pain or suffering to others, or feeling no concern about it. For example, people who are cruel to animals. People who are cruel to animals. Cultural. Cultural. Cultural means of ideas, customs, and social behavior of society. Of ideas, customs, and social behavior of society. For example, the cultural diversity of the world's peoples. The cultural diversity of the world's peoples. Curious. Curious. Curious means eager to find out. Eager to find out. For example, I began to be curious about the whereabouts of the bride and groom. I began to be curious about the whereabouts of the bride and groom. Current. Current. Current means belonging to present. Belonging to present. For example, keep abreast of current events. Keep abreast of current events. Curved. Curved. Curved means having form of curve. Having form of curve. For example, birds with long curved bills. Birds with long curved bills. Cute. Cute. Cute means endearingly attractive. Endearingly attractive. For example, a cute kitten. A cute kitten. Dairy. Dairy. Dairy means containing or made from milk. Containing or made from milk. For example, local dairy foods. Local dairy foods. Deadly. Deadly. Deadly means causing death. Causing death. For example, a deadly weapon. A deadly weapon. Decent. Decent. Decent means respectable and moral. Respectable and moral. For example, the good name of such a decent and innocent person. The good name of such a decent and innocent person. Definite. Definite. Definite means not vague or doubtful. Not vague or doubtful. For example, we had no definite plans. We had no definite plans. Deliberate. Deliberate. Deliberate means intentional. Intentional. For example, a deliberate attempt to provoke conflict. A deliberate attempt to provoke conflict. Delighted. Delighted. Delighted means feeling or showing great pleasure. Feeling or showing great pleasure. For example, a delighted smile. A delighted smile. Democratic. Democratic. Democratic means relating to or supporting democracy or its principles. Relating to or supporting democracy or its principles. For example, democratic reforms. Democratic reforms. Dependent. Dependent. Dependent means contingent on. Contingent on. For example, the various benefits will be dependent on length of service. The various benefits will be dependent on length of service. Depressed. Depressed. Depressed means in state of general unhappiness or despondency. In state of general unhappiness or despondency. For example, he was depressed, despondent, and in total despair. He was depressed, despondent, and in total despair. Depressing. Depressing. Depressing means causing or resulting in feeling of miserable dejection. Causing or resulting in feeling of miserable dejection. For example, that thought is too depressing for words. That thought is too depressing for words. Detailed. Detailed. Detailed means having many details or facts. Having many details or facts. For example, more detailed information was needed. More detailed information was needed. Determined. Determined. Determined means having made firm decision and being resolved not to change it. Having made firm decision and being resolved not to change it. For example, Alice was determined to be heard. Alice was determined to be heard. Disabled. Disabled. Disabled means having physical or mental condition that limits their movements or activities. Having physical or mental condition that limits their movements or activities. For example, facilities for disabled people. Facilities for disabled people. Disappointed. Disappointed. Disappointed means sad or displeased because person or thing has failed to fulfill one's hopes or expectations. Sad or displeased because person or thing has failed to fulfill one's hopes or expectations. For example, I'm disappointed in you, Mary. I'm disappointed in you, Mary. Disappointing. Disappointing. Disappointing means failing to fulfill someone's hopes or expectations. Failing to fulfill someone's hopes or expectations. For example, the team made a disappointing start. The team made a disappointing start. Dishonest. Dishonest. Dishonest means behaving or prone to behave in untrustworthy, deceitful, or insincere way. Behaving or prone to behave in untrustworthy, deceitful, or insincere way. For example, he was a dishonest hypocrite prepared to exploit his family. He was a dishonest hypocrite prepared to exploit his family. Distant. Distant. Distant means far away in space or time. Far away in space or time. For example, distant parts of the world. Distant parts of the world. Distinct. Distinct. Distinct means recognizably different in nature. Recognizably different in nature. For example, the patterns of spoken language are distinct from those of writing. The patterns of spoken language are distinct from those of writing. Diverse. Diverse. Diverse means showing great deal of variety. Showing great deal of variety. For example, subjects as diverse as architecture, language teaching, and the physical sciences. Subjects as diverse as architecture, language teaching, and the physical sciences. Domestic. Domestic. Domestic means relating to home. Relating to home. For example, domestic chores. Domestic chores. Dominant. Dominant. Dominant means having power and influence over others. Having power and influence over others. For example, they are now in an even more dominant position in the market. They are now in an even more dominant position in the market. Downtown. Downtown. Downtown means in or relating to central part or main business and commercial area of town or city. In or relating to central part or main business and commercial area of town or city. For example, downtown Chicago. Downtown Chicago. Dramatic. Dramatic. Dramatic means relating to drama. Relating to drama. For example, the dramatic arts. The dramatic arts. Drunk. Drunk. Drunk means affected by excessive alcohol. Affected by excessive alcohol. For example, he was so drunk he lurched from wall to wall. He was so drunk he lurched from wall to wall.
Great! Watch again, practice the sound, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button.